Yep. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cardfight Crime Special Deck Profile. This is Mr. Joe Tan. He played in his first ever regional over the weekend. He get 11th place out of 145 people. Mr. Joe Tan, tell us how your deck is.
You
And-
little fat log, right?
Show us your build.
I will end. Anyway,
Show me your moves, bitch.
Show me what you got.
so like Gary said, this was my first regional event.
Who, Gary? Fuck you. My name is Mr. Chang.
Go fuck yourself, Gary.
3 seconds. And that's all
Anyway, practiced for like 3 months and placed 11th out of 149 people. Feels pretty good.
What you play?
I played Luard, the hybrid version, because I dislike the pure version. It just lacks a lot at the moment. Might end up switching to pure depending on future support, but that's then and this is now.
Decent. Show me your moves.
Okay, so my starter is Creeping Dark Goat, grade 3 searcher with Forerunner skill. The reason I'm running this is because I run 6 grade 3s, and I would really like to see them. Otherwise, I kind of just lose. So grade 3s are 4 Luards, really good card. I'm so glad I didn't get baited by what it did. Instead, I got baited by theme.
You only have one of the signed one. Why you don't do better?
Because I don't want to pay like $25 a piece. I also want an SP, but I don't want to drop $100 for that.
Yeah, that's legit.
So if you don't know what it does, it's Ritual 3. Ritual is a skill that's activated when I have 3 or more grade 1s in the drop zone, which is a very natural state of the game. Choose 2 normal units in my drop zone, put them to the bottom of the deck, and then the next time I would stride, I can stride without paying the cost. On stride skill is really good as well. Counterblast 1, retire a unit, search my deck for up to 2 grade 1 or less cards, and call them to the field. Gary. Next I run 2 Sharp Fang Witch Fodless. This works really well for the Aura Geyser combo turn, where I get to basically draw 7 cards. And it helps with the recovery. Only unfortunate part is that it's a 9k body, so if I ever ride this, I effectively just lose.
Well,
That's a nice body.
you're playing Luard. If you don't ride Luard, you lose anyway.
More or less. Next for my grade 2s, I am running 4 Drag Wizard Morfessa. Absolutely must run this card if you are playing Luard. If you can't find them, that's kind of unfortunate. These are still rather expensive. Ritual 3, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, until the end of the turn it gets plus 5k, and the on-hit skill of Counterblast 1, search your deck for a grade 1 and call it. The great thing about this isn't the fact that it becomes 14 on its own, it's that it counts as a grade 1 in the drop zone, therefore counting towards Ritual.
So what you tell people is if they don't have the Morfessa, they need to get on your level.
Kind of, yeah.
Decent.
Next grade 2 we're running is 4 10k vanillas for anti-rush.
Where's your
and-
blaster axe?
No. We don't talk about blaster axe.
Can I ask you a question?
Get right out. Jude, I love you, but get out. So the next grade 2 we're running is 4 Black Chain Flame Dance Formation Hoel. God, that's a mouthful.
That's a
Yeah.
whole
Oh,
lot of
Jesus.
stuff.
And you had to write it out.
I did have to write it out. That was painful. Writing its grade 1 counterpart is also painful. However, that's beside the point. So its skill is GB1 when another grade 1 unit is placed, or when a grade 1 unit is placed on the rearguard circle. If I have a Diablo Vanguard, both this and the Vanguard get plus 3k. And then if I call his counterpart Kahaden, I get to soul charge 1 and counter charge 1. This is great because it allows me to maintain a decent amount of soul, as well as maintaining counter blast resources.
and it pumps your fucking Diablos like crazy. Tip for anybody playing against Luard or against the Luard Diablo, this is a priority target. This motherfucker here did so well because people weren't swinging at this or blowing it up with skills. They were just like, oh, there's 2 Hoels on board. I'm going to attack your Vanguard.
Regardless, the card puts in so much work.
Yeah.
Next on to the grade 1s. 4 Drag Saber Estrus. So this is arguably one of the best PGs in the game. Because I run Hoel and I run the Diablo variant, I don't need to worry about countercharging as much. So having something that kills something on my rearguard circle and allows me to bounce it to hand is really good. So obviously it's a Sentinel, has the regular PG effect, but because it's a GPG, effectively, it can only guard the Vanguard, can't guard rearguards, which is slightly unfortunate, but whatever. Its really important skill is the act skill in the drop zone. So I choose one of my rear guards, retire it, and send another Estrus from the drop zone to the bottom of the deck, and then bounce this to hand. This is another card that just puts in a lot of work. And if you can't find this, running Karma Collector is just fine, especially if you're running the pure variant, which has issues with counterblasts.
So what he means is, if you don't run this, you need to get on his level.
God damn it, Gary.
Are we now mean that?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a little late to not, because Gary's doing this.
I'm doing it anyway.
So here we have Hoel's counterpart, Kahaden. This is really good for pumping up your Spectral or Phantom Blaster turns as well, because when its skill is when this is retired or when this is placed into the drop zone for the effect or cost of one of my unit's abilities, if I have Diablo Vanguard, it gets plus 5k, and then the on-hit skill of Call a Grade 1, search your deck, call a Grade 1, and if I have Hoel on the board, the unit called gets plus 5k. And also, if I have Hoel on board, the Grade 1 that's called also helps pump numbers.
660 field pump.
Does that mean we need to hate on your level?
I swear to God. You deserve that. Next card is pretty key as well for digging for Luard. It's Abyssal Owl.
Why you only run 3?
I'm only running 3 because I didn't feel the need to run 4, and through testing, 3 was actually the perfectly comfortable number for me to run it at. I saw it enough with how many cards I draw a turn. So I really didn't feel the need to put in the 4th. Plus I wanted room for text.
Not bad.
So its skill is when it's placed on rearguard from hand, and that's important to note because if it was from hand or deck, it'd be
Broken as fuck.
so much better. So when you place it from hand onto rearguard circle, you look at the top 7 cards of your deck and search for a card with Luard in its card name. And then if you add a Luard in this way, you have to discard cards whose grade total is 3 or more. Normally I drop grade 3s, but in the case that I'm on Luard and I'm going first, I will drop 3 grade 1s so I can stride for free the next turn, which is a pretty good thing. Its other skill is what's really important.
Countercharge.
It allows Luard to countercharge, but it has to be retired due to a Luard effect. It can't be retired by anything else. And it includes itself in the ritual count. So if you have 2 and you sack this with Luard's stride skill, you do get the countercharge off.
Yep.
Next grade 1 is Sword Breakers. These are so key for the early game.
And you only have room for 2 because of the Kahedans, right?
Yes, and the Abyssal Owls and the tech stuff that I want to run. I wouldn't run more than 2 just because you want to have soul for the spectral turn without having to commit.
But calling 2 is Pot of Greed, right?
Yes, calling 2 is Pot of Greed.
Yeah.
What does Pot of Greed do?
Guys, Pot of Greed allows me to draw 2 cards from the top of my deck and add them to my hand individually.
But what does it do?
Absolutely nothing.
Do you think like if you ran more than 2, it would sword break the deck?
Jude, I am like this close to hurting you.
Okay.
God damn it. Okay, so on to my 3 tech choices for grade 1s. I'm running Pitch Black Sage Karen. It counts as two sacrifices when I have a Blaster Vanguard, which is the important part. Its other skill is when it's placed on rearguard circle from hand, I get to reveal a grade 3, search my deck for Blaster Dark, add it to my hand, and then discard a card and shuffle my deck. I don't run the Blaster Dark Diablos, obviously, just because it's not... I have a worse lose record on Blaster Dark Diablo than I do with Fodla.
Blaster Dank is shit.
So you don't care on... Don't kill me.
Don't
kill me.
What? G-card for Kagura.
I'll look at it later.
Every open view card.
So, running 1 Stride Fodder just because if I happen to have one grade 1 in the drop zone and have an Abyss Halal, this will let me get the basically free call. It searches for Claret Sword, but I don't run Claret Sword because Claret Sword's bad.
Claret Sword is trash. It was so bad that they replaced it with Luard.
And then my 1 tech choice that I thought about really hard was Air Elemental Twitterin. I was very wary about 7 Seas Rush being a thing still, so I teched this in because it allows me to get my GB effects off. So its skill is rest this unit. If I have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard and there are no face-up cards in my G-zone, excuse me, and no unit was placed on my opponent's Vanguard circle during the previous turn, I get to draw a card and put this into the G zone, and it's regarded as a G unit that's face up. So, again, therefore allowing me to use my GB effects.
Yay, because nobody likes cheese. And this
And then when
poops on cheese.
Yes. And then when a grade 3 unit is placed on my opponent's Vanguard circle, this goes into drop. And then as per all Cray Elementals, it counts as from all clans and all nations.
Decent.
On to the triggers, one of my favorite cards in the deck, and featured on this channel already.
Twice.
Twice.
We'll get there.
It's Belial Owl. This is the best bird in the game.
Fucking bird.
Anyone say anything different, they'd be lying.
That's not a bird.
Yeah. Bird
Dude, you better
bird
get
jokes
outta here.
only.
Anyway,
I'll
so
let it go.
its Ritual 3 skill is active in the drop zone. At the end of my turn, if I have a Luard Vanguard and this is in the drop zone, I may put this card to the bottom of the deck. So recycling crit triggers is really, really good for the late game, or at any point in the game, really, because of how much I search through my deck. Its other skill is when it's retired due to the effect from rearguard due to the effect or cost of a card of one of my cards. If I have a Luard Vanguard, I get to draw a card. So this combos super well with Aura Geyser.
Nice.
Because if I sack it, basically I get to reveal the 2 for Aura Geyser skill, and then draw an additional 2. And then with the triple drive, that's 7 cards in 1 turn, which is really insanely good.
Don't worry. Soon it will die.
Well,
Ha 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 ha.
has nothing to do with me. 4 vanilla crits, Death Feather Eagles,
So,
because
why?
I am truly the master of birds. I don't allow that.
I don't think you have a choice.
No, I could have hit him.
Yep. Because his crotch is right at dick punching level. All Joe has to do is go.
So draw triggers, running 3 Howl Owls, the Margle clone for Shadow Paladins that they needed for so long.
But they've had it since
But
the
they've had
first
it
legend
since
deck.
the Red Legend deck came out. Really good, just because I do like hitting the draw triggers, because they're the best trigger to hit defensively.
And if you
aside
hit
from
draw
heals.
triggers on that stupid Aura Geyser fluff turn, it just makes it even better.
Yep, because that's a potential 8 to 10 cards. I'm running 1 stand trigger. So this stand counts as a double sacrifice as well, or double retire. And then when it gets put into the drop zone from rear guard due to the cost of one of my unit's abilities, it goes back to deck and lets me shuffle. So again, recycling triggers are really, really good. And then we're running 4 heal triggers.
Those aren't birds.
You're right, they're not birds.
Why aren't they birds?
But there are no bird heals.
Oh.
Shadow Paladin doesn't have that.
Show your sad face.
Running the 1 Doge just because it's shiny and
Dojano.
I don't have more than one, so it works out.
One shiny Doge. Decent.
All right, so on to the G zone. We're going to start off with the G Guardians. So running 1 Dismal because for those opponents who know that Hoel is a priority target, I want to make sure I have at least 1 on board.
Like nobody at fucking regionals.
Apparently. So Dismal basically gives them resist and they can't be touched by attacks or anything really.
Let's see.
Next, we're running 3 Plot Makers because this is the easiest keyword G Guardian to proc. Ritual 3, this unit's shield gets plus 10k. That's basically that's pretty self-explanatory on why it's really good.
Yep.
Fuck it.
All right, so on to the strides. We're running 2 Phantom Blaster Diablos. I was running 4 at one point, but in this current format and meta, Spectral does a better job. And this is, if they survive both Spectral turns and they don't have a field, this is the insta-kill shot. Because I really only have to sacrifice 3, and with how Luard works.
Like, you make sure you have 2 in there just in case they make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
You can punch them for it.
Oh, yeah. Next card is Aura Geyser. This guy helps me recover when I have low hand or just don't open up as well as I would like to normally. Skill is Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, Persona Flip Aura Geyser in the G zone. On attack, retire 2 units, reveal the top 2. For each grade 1 or less card revealed this way, this unit gets plus 5k until the end of the turn. And again, kind of self-explanatory on why it's good for the recovery turn in tandem with Belial Owl, just because 7 cards in 1 turn is insane.
It's minimum 7.
Minimum 7. So running 2 Drag Driver Luards. Now before you people flame me, because I know this is going to happen, this card...
Because nobody runs this because it is shitty.
It's not a great card, I will agree. However, this has gotten me out of not having field, especially against things like Gaia with Dynast and Kagero in general, and just other things that have field removal. This allows me an out. So its skill is Soul Blast 1, flip a unit in the G zone. For every... What is this? Yeah, sorry.
It's so bad that most people don't usually use it.
If I do, I search for a grade 1. So when it's placed on Vanguard Circle, I pay the cost. And if I do, I search for up to the same number of face-up Drag Driver Luards in my G zone, called it separate rearguard circles. Shuffle my deck, and for each grade 1 card in my drop zone, those units get plus 1k. The power is irrelevant because it really doesn't make that big of a difference. However, what does make a difference is that I can call in an Abyssal Owl, then proceed to use Luar's Stride skill to sack that Abyssal Owl and call 2 units for, again, effectively free. I like it at 2. I was running it at 3 at one point, but I decided to go down to 2 just because this is a utility tech and really, really helps out against the matchups that have a lot of removal.
And the SP looks fucking fantastic.
Yep, and is still decently expensive.
Always will be.
Here we go with one of the main cards in my G zone, Spectral Blaster Diablo.
Fuck this guy.
It's spectacular.
Really, Jude? You were still not that far away. So it's...
If he wants it bad enough, he'll get up.
Oh, I'll get up.
Yeah.
Be careful.
So its skill is Soul Blast 1, choose a face-down card in my G zone, turn it face up, and retire one of my rear guards. Until the end of the turn, it gets the once per turn restand skill.
Jude just got sacked.
Oh, poor Jude. Not
deserved
really.
it.
He deserved it.
Yeah.
So it gets the once per turn GB3 restand skill. So its cost is Counterblast 2, choose 2 of my rear guards and retire them. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked a vanguard, I pay the cost, and if I do, I restand it. It loses 2 drive checks. The other part of the skill is if I have a heart card with Diablo in its card name, I search my deck for up to 1 grade 1 card and call it to the rear guard circle, shuffle my deck. That card is irrelevant.
But nobody uses that.
This is insanely good because of how big it can get on my if I have a Hoel on board. I run the 2 just because if I don't kill them on the first one, I am 90% sure I'm going to kill them on the second one. Just because of how a lot of the matchups work. Because I can solo with this against Link Joker, they will be dropping a lot of cards if they don't have a PG in hand, simply because of how big my numbers get with this guy. Really good card. On to my first strat options. 2 Carnivore Dragons. Its skill is counterblast, or no, not counterblast. What am I saying? Just retire choose one of my rear guards and retire it. Then it forces my opponent to retire 2. And if they don't have 2 and can't retire 2, then 3 of my units in the front row get plus 4k. Really, really good trial deck stride. It's going to be a staple for a really long time. That's basically all I have to say about that. Really good card. Drag Anger Ogma. This is another card that a lot of people have opted out of playing just because they either don't want to look for it or they don't feel like it's good enough. The thing about this card is I can easily, and I mean easily, if you time it right, cripple an opponent really, really hard.
Why it's already been featured on this channel.
Because
oh my god.
Because its skill is Ritual 5, once per turn, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, flip a unit face up in my G zone. Choose any number of grade 1 rear guards and retire them. And for each rear guard retired by this effect, my opponent has to choose an equal number of rear guards or cards from hand to retire and or discard. And then if 3 or more rear guards were sent to the drop zone by both fighters, I get to draw a card, which is also really, really nice. The important thing to note is that you can do the combination, so if you have 4 rear guards on board and like 5 cards in hand, you can retire the 3 and like drop 2 cards from hand if I retired 5. In the best case scenario, I suppose. This other important thing to note is that Karen doesn't count as 2, and you don't get Kahedon's. You don't really get Kahedon's off unless you have a Diablo Heart anyway, but that's irrelevant. Really good for countercharging if I have 3 Abyssal Owls in the back row. And then the last choice for the deck is Seabreeze, because if my opponent decides to grade stuck themselves at grade 2, then I can still punish them for it. There are very, very, very rare occasions where I had to use this in at the regional level, but I did run into one mirror match where he didn't have a grade 3 and opted out of the G-Assist to grab a grade 3. So this was the one and only time that I ever used Seabreeze to finish someone.
So you killed them on grade 2 with Seabreeze?
Yep.
Fucking fantastic.
It was hilarious.
See, it was a breeze.
So, for those of you who don't know, its act skill in the G zone is Counterblast 2, discard a card, and then if I have a grade 3 Vanguard and my opponent didn't ride up the previous turn, and I have no face-up cards in my G zone, I get to stride this and effectively punish them because now I have triple drive and all of my GB effects are online.
Urban.
Yeah, so...
Any last thoughts?
That was my deck. Obviously, people are entitled to run what they feel like. That is extremely distracting. But if you enjoy Luard, I say this is probably one of the better versions, if not, in my opinion, the best version of running it, just because of how many games how far I went in my very first regional event. Placing 11th out of 149 people feels pretty good.
How many people did you fuck up in mirror matches?
I played 3 total mirror matches, and I beat all of them.
Yeah.
But that's also because I had a lot of experience with one of the better Shadow Paladin players in our community.
Shout out to Joey Chan.
Yeah, the real master of birds. I simply adopted the birds. I'm not gonna lie, but
He was not born in the birds.
no. However, I have come to see the power of the birds.
Bird is the word?
No. No, bird is not the word. So anyway, feel free to, comment, subscribe, and check out Gary's other content on how many cards he destroys. We'll get to destroying it, Belial Owl, eventually. The weather just has to be nice, and it hasn't been. All right.
Well, Joe, good fucking job this weekend, man. Congratulations.
It feels pretty good.
You did really well.
Actually,
Oh boy.
I think his deck should have been better. I mean, okay, you run the one Carnival Dragon. Why do you run just one Carnival Dragon? When you could run one and 2 Ludwigs.
Why on earth would I run a
Well,
hot
I mean, the
garbage
card's so
G-Guardian?
good. The card's so good. Okay. Put your simple mind to rest right now. Give me the floor for a minute. Because, you could bring one of your grade 1s and it becomes a 20k shield.
Okay. Well then, all of the clans have a 20k shield that does this better, and I don't have to sacrifice a unit that I'm going to kill off anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, Litfall helps you a lot more. It's Ritual 3 to sack 1 and draw 1 is much better than...
No, you're wrong, dude. It's Ritual 3 to attack for 11. Its skill is to Soul Blast 1 and retire 1 and draw a card. Sure, that's okay, but why would I want to Soul Blast just to draw a card? No.
Trumpeter is still better because the fact that you can just flood field with grade 1s is
I mean, sure, you could build field with this, but why would I want to waste a precious Soul Blast on this piece of garbage? This is garbage, you know it.
the PGs are a lot better because Nemen filters out your hand. Why would I want to filter PGs back into my deck?
Why would you not want to put PGs back into your deck and add 1 to hand? Like really?
Okay, maybe we can't see eye on the other stuff, but roots. I think you should use root as your starter.
Yo, dude, it's the root of all plays, man.
They're in such harmony.
Oh.